Hello, I'm so happy I got a hold of you. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Lucious Showcase. I am Lucious T, and welcome to Zelda Clone Month. This week we're taking a look at a game that, like I said last time, is a Quintet game I've been looking forward to for a long time. Now you already know what it is the title. Let's not waste any time, let's check it out. Back in 2014, I read a list of 10 RPGs you need to play on the Super Nintendo, with number 1 being Link to the Past. Oh god, not the toxic Zelda RPG argument. 2 of the others were Terranigma and Illusion of Gaia. Now, Terranigma was actually the first ever official review I ever did on this channel. Go check that out if you want to see early channel goodness. Oh god, not toxic early channel shoutouts. Now, I haven't played Illusion of Gaia yet either, but I later found out that these 2 games were part of the unofficial Quintet Gaia Trilogy, meaning there was a 3rd game I obviously needed to pick up. That game would be Soul Blazer, allegedly a lot more action-adventure oriented than RPG, hence the Zelda comparison. Well, about a year and a half ago I was lucky enough to pick up a copy CIB off an eBay seller who had tagged his games wrong. He was just liquidating them or something, I don't know, maybe they're fake. And I picked up a copy of Magic Sword too, but we'll get to that later. So, the time has finally come for us to do some blazing. Oh god, not the toxic comedy again. Jeez, this channel would be so much more watchable if not for the god-awful comedy.
There's a lot of games out there, some of which you've never even heard of. That's where I come in. I'm Lucious T. I've been playing games since the age of 2, and I have no life. This is Retroactive.
Soul Blazer is a top-down action RPG by Enix. It came out a year after ActRaiser, and I can't help but notice the similarities. The intro music sounds very similar. The all-knowing god character is referred to as the Master. Enemies come from monster lairs that must be closed, and the hero holds his sword in the same stately way. Sadly, you can't jump, so the jury is out on his pointed toe form. Now, there's even a section where you fight enemies on a map that looks like ActRaiser's overworld. I kept waiting for something to suddenly happen. Now, the plot of the game is a king has been fooled by greed and has sacrificed his kingdom for wealth. People in the kingdom have been converted to monsters with the Evil Deathtoll pulling the strings. Now, all 6 areas have been made barren of people and creatures thanks to the king's greed, and it is up to you, as the hero, whom I named Lucious, to restore the world, a major theme in the Gaia Trilogy. I mean, it actually is a quite enjoyable gameplay hook. The way you close a monster lair is by killing enough monsters until the lair runs dry. You then walk over it to seal it, which restores a person, animal, or house to the world. So it feels like a pseudo town building minigame with constant payoff around every corner. Sometimes you can restore a soul before there's a room for them to be housed in, so the game hints that you missed a lair earlier. Now, if you pause the game, it even tells you how many lairs remain in a certain section, though not all lairs can be closed the first time around. You will encounter armored enemies and ephemeral ones that require certain swords to kill. Now, you have 2 attacks, sword and magic. Your sword attack is an inward slash with a generous radius. You can even hit enemies behind you. You can also hold the sword out and lock your character in that direction, which lets you strafe and do consistent damage while holding it, where basically enemies run themselves through. Now, this attack is far better early on as enemies stand still more and have low health. You can even tweak monster lairs to spawn enemies that will approach you but can't attack. Now, eventually, however, the slash attack becomes way stronger, partially because you level up, but mainly because your sword burst damage improves once you get the upgraded swords. You can also kill the aforementioned unkillable enemies too with the later swords. Bear in mind, enemies don't get knocked back when you attack, so you need to factor this in. Now, the other attack is magic, which consumes gems to use. Gems are the yellow orbs enemies drop, though you can sometimes find gems in chests. Now, if you die, you lose all gems, meaning all your ability to use magic until you farm more. But that's about it. You keep all progress, so it's a pretty light punishment. There are 8 kinds of magic, one of which you need to unlock, which is the one you use to beat Deathtoll. But I enjoyed the 4-way fire the best. It didn't require you to be looking a certain way to be effective, meaning you didn't have to lock in a direction or just pray that it hit something. Now magic will fire from wherever your blue orb is at the time of the button push. Now some attacks like the tornado do their own thing, and the firewall is a little random, but they all have uses. Your last equipables category is armor. This one is simple. If it has more defense, wear it. Other than the bubble armor, which lets you breathe underwater, you can just wear the highest armor wherever you are. Now, I appreciate the lack of confusing options when it comes to the armor and weapons. You also have a big screen of items to use, but most of those are one-offs. The medicinal herb works like a fairy in a bottle and will provide full health upon a death blow. Plus, they are free if you know where to get them. Just remember to get a new one if you use it and still die, as remember, your progress always saves. Now, the Dream Rod is used on sleeping NPCs to usually unlock something or get a hint. Now, once you get the Power Bracelet, though, that's all you should use. You hit like a truck with that beast. Now, the game is broken into 6 kingdoms: Village, Forest, Mermaid, Mountain, Laboratory, and Castle. Now, once you restore everyone and beat the boss, you get 1 of 6 stones. And once you have all of them, you unlock the 7th kingdom, which is a hellscape where you have a final showdown with Deathtoll. Now, in order to damage him in his last phase, you need the Phoenix spell, which is unlocked by recovering 3 key items. There are also 8 crests hidden that, once found, let you use magic without consuming gems. Now, I didn't do this, so I had to farm gems on Deathtoll to beat him, but that wasn't too bad. I also love how each kingdom had 3 teleportation points, with 1 being the area you're restoring, 1 being an early section, and 1 being right before the boss. It made traversing the lands a breeze, and is a great early fast travel concept that sadly isn't replicated in too many other games of the time. Now, time for some Lucious metrics. Game design, top notch. As I said, this game makes navigating its world a breeze. It provides subtle hints in World 1 as to what your abilities do and lets you know how to play the game without a tutorial. You can verify a cleared area by looking at the pause screen. NPCs clearly tell you where to search or look in order to achieve your goals or figure out where to go, and for this, I very much commend the localization team. They did a great job.
Grape juice!
Playability, near perfect. This game feels and controls exactly how I would expect a great Super Nintendo action RPG to feel. Minus the lack of enemy knockback, combat is near perfect, and the concise nature of the equipables make this game very approachable to gamers of all skill levels. This is made possible by the cheat death mechanic as well as a very forgiving death system. It's very hard to get frustrated or get stuck in this game, which is very admirable for a game made in 1992. Cost of entry, worth it. With copies fluctuating in the $50 to $80 range loose, this makes it a hard pill to swallow for most people in the emulation era, but I think this game more than justifies the price for a loose copy. I would not recommend buying it complete, but the way I see it, I never mind paying $60 or so for a copy of a solid game that provides a nice 10-hour or so experience. I also don't foresee this game going much higher price-wise, so feel free to sit on it while the game price peaks. Storytelling, satisfying. The act of restoring a town and turning a blank slate into a place full of life is immensely satisfying. The story is a little weak as far as the love story goes, but it has suicide bombing and magical dogs, and that's an A+ in my book. And once again, a great feat for a game from the 80s and 90s. Soul Blazer was like meeting someone for the first time and just feeling like you've known them for years. I knew after a few minutes that I was going to love this game, which comes as no surprise based on the pedigree of Quintet. I cannot recommend this game more to fans of the Legend of Zelda series. Taking all that into account from the perspective of a binge-playing game finisher, I give this my Lucious T recommendation of beat it. And there you have it. That's it for this week, guys. Thank you for joining me. Wow, what an amazing game. Definitely pick up Soul Blazer or emulate it or just play it however you can. And let me know what you think, because I really enjoyed the game, especially if you like ActRaiser. It's amazing how many thematic choices you can see since this is the direct next game in the line from them. So let me know what you thought. Let me know if you liked the new set. I figured I'd get a little bit more retro here than my stove, but I can go back to the kitchen once the Christmas decorations are up, since everyone loves that. And also, hopefully you enjoyed this game. As a little preview, next week for my Zelda Clone Month, I'm going to be doing a game that is the first game in a series that I've already talked about, one of the games, and just had a remake this year. So let that fester. It's definitely something that I think you're going to enjoy. And once again, it's been so nice getting a hold of you. Take care.